it's been quite a while on here. I never thought I'll be away for so long because honestly, the hiatus wasn't even planned. But it happened and I'm back like I never left. So, happy new month to you. I hope that you've been good and taking your health seriously, even though I wasn't here every week to remind you. Well, I feel like what I'll be talking about today is quite necessary and fitting actually in this fast-paced world that we're in. And even considering that I've been gone for a while, close to 2 months now, since the last episode was in May and we're in August. Well, the break was unplanned, okay, but I'll tell you why. That's why I am doing this episode today. I think this will be one of the most candid episodes I will do on this podcast. Maybe only second to the one where I shared about my academic and career journey. But I feel like while this podcast is about global health, it is also my personal space to share some experiences with my audience that will benefit them in various facets of life. Also, do not forget that our health is impacted by our life experiences, whether we like it or not. And remember WHO definition of health as the totality of our mental, social, and physical well-being. That being said, I'll be talking about burnout. Yes, and this from a personal perspective. You've probably heard of burnout, one way or the other. And even if you haven't, lend me your attention for the next 10 minutes because I am sure you learn something that will benefit you. So, yes, I experienced burnout. That much needed rest that I refused to take for a while was demanded eventually by my body, but not only that, by my mind as well. I just realized that I had this mental fatigue and my creative juices were not flowing. If you've been with me on this podcast for a while, you would know that I do majority of the work for this podcast, close to 100% if I'm being honest, from conceptualizing to writing to recording to designing to editing to posting and marketing and even to replying mails, all of them. You would agree with me that that's a lot of things for one person to take on. I do it happily, of course, but you literally need a team to do all these things, right? So it is financially demanding, right, for the podcast to set up such team, and the podcast is not financially buoyant yet. I'm only trying my best. And that's your cue to donate to the podcast and support me in order to help ease these things up around here, okay? But that's by the way. I love doing these things, yes. I love that I'm influencing at least one person and helping them to understand things about their medications and health. I mean, I have received various feedbacks that made me keep going on even not so good days. And they even helped me to want to do more. Besides, I have picked up a lot of skills in the course of doing this. I've learned, unlearned, relearned a lot of things as well. But the fact still remains that I'm only human, just like you. And as much as you want to be consistent, to not disappoint your audience, because of course, consistency is required if you want to be taken seriously and succeed at anything you do. At the same time, you have to be careful to not burn yourself out while trying to do this, because at the end of the day, you are human, not a superhuman, and no matter how capable you are, you still have to be careful. You have to put systems in place to help your consistency. Some of these systems I have researched, and according to my personal experience too, I have broken down into 4: delegation, automation, task breakdown, and time and energy optimization. The good thing is that these systems will not only help your consistency, but your efficiency as well. Mind you, I'm not talking to creatives alone. I'm talking to students, to employees, to business owners, even to mothers, except maybe children who have no care in the world. And wouldn't you like to just return to those good old days where all you have to think about is just sleep and eat? But unfortunately, we can't because responsibility calls. But at the same time, you can make it easy on yourself. Funny enough, earlier in the year, a friend called me out on how I was doing a lot of things at the same time. I even made a post about it on WhatsApp, like how I am unapologetic about doing the things I love, no matter how many they are. After all, that saying, that idiom, jack of all trades, master of none, is actually an incomplete idiom, because the ending part says that he is better than a master of one. But what I didn't factor in was burnout. Yes, I've taken rest in the past between seasons, but this time I was combining a lot of things. In the earlier days of the podcast, I had not included a lot of things, like I am doing now. So then I didn't feel it so much like now. Don't get me wrong, doing many things and doing them well can be empowering. You may be needed and respected even more than the average person. But don't forget that you are only human. Always remember this. And you can get tired, not just physically, especially if you do a lot of mental work, but mentally as well. The thing with burnout is it rarely gives you a sign. Maybe a little fatigue here and there, but you just, dismiss it as being tired. But majority of the effect is in the brain. It is mostly triggered by an event that you will just find yourself in a rut and you will just be unable to get anything done. This happened to me, of course. And to avoid this, you should use the strategies I listed earlier, which I'll be explaining briefly before I close, which I'm using right now as well. You might even have to spend more money. Yes, I've learned it that you will spend more money, which is why I talked about the financial assistance earlier, because you'll be able to benefit from it in the long run. Talking about delegation, you have to find people who can do some tasks satisfactorily enough. Even if not as good as you could even train them if you must. But the aim is to take the burden of those tasks off you. You just supervise and make occasional inputs here and there. And thank God for artificial intelligence that has made things possible nowadays, which were otherwise impossible a few years back. Even you can delegate some tasks to AI now. How cool is that? Things that would otherwise have been carried out by real people, now AI can do them for you. All you need are the right tools and the right prompts. This will go a long way in helping you. Automation is another thing that I mentioned, and it helps a lot. You can automate emails. Someone like me that doesn't like emails, I can automate them, reports, sales, accounting, and a host of other things using AI. While you're resting, you're sleeping, you're on vacation, the systems you've put in place are still working for you with little or no input from you. That is cool too, right? And as for task breakdown, it helps you to break big tasks into simple and smaller ones that can be done over a scheduled time period. So instead of one cumbersome task wearing you out, you're able to schedule the different tasks for different times using schedulers, planners, and the likes. And this is closely related to time and energy optimization, in which you take note of your peak performance periods and times when you're free or more active in order to do certain tasks at these periods. Some people are more active in the mornings, others are at night, some are free times in on weekends or towards the end of the month. You can utilize all this knowledge to your advantage so that you are always at your best. Yes, it is important to always put your best foot forward, to always deliver your best, but at what cost? In our world today, hardly will you see or find a person surviving on only a single source of income. Nowadays, you need multiple streams of income to keep body and soul together. People are stretching themselves thin, not just to survive, but to live the life of their dreams while ensuring that their families are comfortable. But the question remains, is it worth it at the end of the day? Definitely not at the cost of your health and well being. Remember that I always say that health is wealth, and that is the truest thing of all. Because without your health, you will not be able to do all those things at the end of the day. And burnout will creep upon you until a little trigger activates it. In my case, I wasn't sick or anything. It was just an untoward event that made me to just stop doing all the creative things I was doing. It became a chore to set up the camera and sit in front of it and talk, even though I had ideas, but to just actualize those ideas, to put them into action, was a big task that I didn't want to do. I knew I had to be consistent, right? in order for my audience to trust me, in order for me to gain more listeners and followers. But at that point, I got to this point of I cannot come and go and die. Everybody will be all right, like we say in Nigeria. It wasn't until I took that much needed rest that my mind is reset. Okay? Mind you, burnout is different from depression. Although they have similar symptoms, they are caused by different things. While burnout is a response to chronic stress tied to specific roles or tasks, depression is a clinical mental health disorder affecting all areas of life. Okay, so the summary is this: you need to schedule rest into your routines. It is very important. And not only your body requires rest, your mind does too. So all those things that I've listed will help you to take those rests at the appropriate time. So either you work in a structured environment or not, either you're self-employed or you're a stay-at-home mother, whatever you do, be intentional about rest. Not the 4 hours sleep that you take instead of the recommended 8 hours. Or even if you sleep for 8 hours, you still need rest in between tasks. Remember the school timetables of back then that used to have long and short breaks in between? Now that I think about it, it's not just to eat food, but for physical and mental rest. You could do the same now that you are the headmaster of your life, don't you think? Well, that's it on today's episode. It's nice to be back, all right? Yes, it's World Breastfeeding Week, so the next episode will be about that. Watch out for that one, okay? Thank you so much for listening up to this point. If you've missed my voice, I'm back now. And if you have left, please come back, okay? I'll be seeing you in the next one. Till then, stay healthy and God bless you. Bye.